a Sankarshan Joshi trip.
Hello, Mr. Dattaraj Sandur, aka Dats. Welcome to a Sankarshan Joshi trip. Thank you so much for coming here.
My pleasure. My pleasure, Sankarshna. So, what's up? How's life?
So, actually, like every time, my life is pretty fantastic because I'm
I can
getting
see
to
that.
talk to amazing people like you, and it's been a pretty amazing journey so far. So, whoever comes to the podcast, I actually ask them to themselves, but for the first time, I will make the introduction. Uh, so, I think you are a really amazing father. You are that kind of a person with whom I can have any sort of conversation with, and I'm really happy to have you here, and I really admire you. And I think I wanted to introduce you like this way, as an amazing father, as a amazing knowledgeable person who can talk about anything, and you have a really interesting perspective on spirituality and on different things, which actually connects with me, to be honest. So it's a pleasure to have you here. Thank you so much for coming.
My pleasure. It's very important to be able to connect to the next generation. Okay, like for example, my son or my father. So we should be in a position to connect with both the generations. That's very important. Yeah, that's very important because um, you have to have the wisdom of the older generation, and you have to have the curiosity of the younger generation. This is what you know. This
Yes.
drives me in a right path, I say. Hmm? So
Yes, I think that you have really put it out in a really amazing way, because I think that our generation, right? Like when I look around, I keep saying this almost frequently on my podcast, that our generation is very curious, like you said, and they've become spiritually curious too. Like they want to know more about Hinduism, or they want to know about like God in general. They have so many questions, and every time these kids ask questions to their parents and they don't have any answer, they just say that no, like we didn't question our parents and you're not supposed to ask questions to us, because they don't really have an answer to any spiritual question that kids ask. And
yeah, you're right. You're right. Even I have experienced something similar to that. Okay, so it's like this. Let's go from the very basics of what I am. Okay, like if I call myself a Madhva Brahmin, which means that I have to have a basic understanding of what Madhva's teachings are. Okay, and the very first and most important teaching of Srimad Acharya is to ask questions. And yeah, he said that if you don't ask questions, you're only just trying to follow something. You're just like a vegetable standing in the corner. So either people consume you or you'll rot. Yeah. So I mean, if we stop asking questions, we should know that we are laying foundations for being stupid for the whole life. Yeah.
yes, I think these
It's like
questions never end.
questions should never end. So does the curiosity. Yeah. So the
Yes.
more curious we are, the more questions we get about some things, and the more we question about what has been fed to us or what has been taught to us, what we have been following or what we have been practicing. I think that leads us to the right way. I mean, the whole life, as they say, as great people have said so far, uh, the whole purpose of this life is to seek truth, the ultimate truth. And unless we ask a question, a right question, okay, I'll tell whether a question is right or wrong. That's not very important. But again, at least we should start
Yes.
asking questions. Eh?
Yes. Yes.
If we don't ask questions, we tend to remain aloof, and then we tend to follow. And uh, unfortunately, I would say very unfortunately, in the past few generations, I'd say, like, not questioning the beliefs and practices has actually made us more dumb.
Yes,
I mean,
it has. It has.
we have to go into a path of wisdom. We have to speak spirituality. We have to seek ultimate truth. It means that, we have to start questioning. There's a first and essential characteristic, I would say, of a person who wants to seek is to ask questions.
Yes.
Mhm.
I think growth comes from questioning and learning. So you learn new things when you are curious, and when you're curious, you want to know everything that is around, and you do that by asking questions. And
Imagine they say, people used to live for thousands of years. Let's assume that, yes, people were living for thousands or hundreds of thousands of years long back. Yeah, they were that healthy, but we have very short life. Yeah,
yes,
we have a very short life. You can say 4 दिन की जिंदगी है. Yeah, so but you can um, it's like this. 4 दिन की जिंदगी, either you want to lead a successful life, or we want to lead a life where we're just seeking after pleasure. And I think in my case, or rather in everyone's case, should be not after seeking pleasure. We get it, okay?
yes,
We live for 100 years or less than 100 years. Maybe our life expectancy is just a few decades, 60 or 70 years in these times. And it's very short for us, right?
yes,
It's very short for us for any kind of accomplishment. We cannot even compare ourselves to even the smallest life forms of those ages. But now, at least we have the we have a lot of resources that our previous generations didn't have.
yes.
For example,
True.
today, if you have a question, you can immediately browse over the net without asking anyone, and you can get the answers. May not be all right answers, but yes, at least you know the way to go.
That can
But
get you going in one
yes,
direction
of
at least.
course,
Even yes,
yeah, keeping the ball rolling is very important. Yeah.
yes. And I think the other day I was reading Bhagavad Gita written by Paramahamsa Yogananda. So it is his interpretation, and he says that we are all sense driven. So he says that there is a war happening within, that is Kurukshetra, on this Dharma Kshetra, and we are fighting our evils every day inside, our demons inside, and that is the war according to him. And I think that is so true. And he also says that all the Kaurava powers, all the negative powers, are sense driven. So each Kaurava character represents one emotion or one particular aspect of human life, which is more materialistic and which is more sense driven. So he specifically says we are all sense driven. We should be more of intelligent driven than sense driven. So it makes sense when you say we are all seeking pleasure, and that's the main focus of humanity, I think, these days.
So the reality is, like, like, for example, if you have ever seen a robot working, it's like it takes all the stimulus from its own sense organs. Yeah, it has the sense of sight, sense of gravity, sense of, proximity, sense of heat, and all those things. So similarly, the creator, whoever so it is, the creator who created us, has given these five senses. Okay, and these are the five senses, whether we use it in the right way or wrong way. Okay, what is right and what is wrong, let's leave that. But these are the five senses which we have to keep open and make sure we get the right stimulus. What's a stimulus and what's a response? Yeah, so
Yes.
stimulus is what gives us signals from the external world, and the response is how we behave on it, whether we churn that information and then use it, in what way we use that information. Yeah, so these five senses are provided to us for many reasons. Yeah, you have the sense of sight, sense of touch, sense of hearing, sense of smell, and sense of taste. And apart from this, uh, uh, if I've read it correctly, even the mind is also conceived as a sense. Yeah, it
Mhm.
senses fears, it senses pleasure. Yeah,
Yes.
so So for all the things that is whether external or internal stimulus, we know these are the sense organs, okay, which helps to drive in right or wrong directions. Now that's what it says, in many of the places you may have read, like, Arjuna and Krishna, for example, when Krishna was driving the horses, the chariot for Arjuna, and it said that, Krishna is actually driving his senses. Yeah, it's a symbolic way of
Yes, yes, yes.
it's a symbolic representation of the philosophy there. It's just like, if it's driven in a spiritually right way, okay, it said in this particular context, it's called the Krishna consciousness, or the or
Yes.
the what do you
Cosmic
call,
consciousness.
yeah, some kind of consciousness, so spiritually being awake, okay, understanding the real sense of what's going on around us, and what needs to happen. This kind of consciousness, self-awareness, if these are driven by if this drives our senses, then probably we are going in the right direction. And Krishna proved it in Mahabharata, that he has Arjuna, he has driven Arjuna in the right way, yeah, in the right direction. I mean,
Yes.
there's so many ways to interpret. They say,
Yes.
they say you have 100 or odd different interpretations of Mahabharata, okay, and everyone has its own interpretation. Everyone understands it differently. Yeah, the one that we discussed was just part of a tiny fraction of what people
Yes.
have conceived so far.
I think that's the whole
So,
point. I think that uh, spiritual journey, it's very personal and it's very individualistic. It's never mass oriented. It's not something that people in the masses follow to go to that destination, because it happens inside, right? And also I think that we are the species who are given so many senses, yet we are disabled. So in a sense, we have eyes, but we can't see the truth.
it's like this: we have eyes, and then we wear black shades on them.
Exactly, right? Like we have, I think that we have so many senses to distract us from actually going um, somewhere. Like I think that that's exactly what is happening. Because the other day, on my previous trip, which is episodes, so I call it trip because it is a journey that I'm going through. Like me talking with you, there is a certain amount of experience that is happening with me, and I call that journey. So I call like each episode's trips, and I actually mean it. So I was talking about how um, nothing makes sense. So I was talking about like how that was my thinking out loud session, where I was just thinking out loud on how we uh, we are all given so many things with respect to senses, with respect to like touch, we can see, we can taste, but what is the point of all this?
Well, I would see, when you said that we are going in we are going directionless. When you say that, we have all the senses, but what's the point? We are going in a wrong direction. But understand this point, that everyone has his own way of exploring the world. There is no fixed path. Okay,
Yes, yes,
there's no
yeah.
fixed path. Like um, in when they say akashat patitam toyam yatha gacchati sagaram sarve deva namaskaraha keshavam prati gacchati. It says like, in a nutshell, it says like, the waters flow, the waters, the holy rivers, they all flow in a direction, in different directions. Okay, Ganga flows from north to south, or north to east. Godavari flows from, west to east. Narmada flows from east to west. No matter what, some rivers flow from south to north, some from north to south. No matter which direction they flow, ultimately they reach the one and only one mighty ocean. That's it. So no matter which path you're taking, no matter what you believe, what you practice, no matter what you understand, ultimately uh, we have a destination that we need to reach, and we chart our own paths. Now, in this process, someone may have somehow wandered across the woods. Okay, someone may have taken a very dirty path, someone may have taken a really highway, but again, I would say, yeah, unless you go directionless for some time, unless you wander about, okay, in dark forests, you actually not appreciate what is the right thing or what is the bad thing. Okay, only when you get lost in the woods, you try to find the right path. Yeah, and
Yes.
only when you try to find the right path, you'll find the right directions, and someone will be able to help you. And that's what they call a guru. A guru is not a person who will take you to the destination, but a person who would say, I think you should travel that direction, just try there, because I've been there, so just go to that direction. And then maybe after some time you'll say, fine, I got my own path, I'll lead it. Or maybe you just follow the guru's direction and then get to a path which has been more prevalent, more commonly followed. Yeah, so that's how it happens. I mean, uh, the point is, yes, maybe we may think that we are sometimes we feel directionless, sometimes we are not using our senses in the right direction, or sometimes we are not actually trying to understand things as they are. But it's all part of the lessons, it's all part of
Yes. I
the
think so too.
process.
Yes, yes. And
Yeah,
also, it's not about right or wrong. It's not about being in the right direction or wrong direction. I think that whatever direction you are in, it is your journey, and you're at a certain stage of your journey, and you're gonna reach somewhere, and nobody else is gonna know or feel or learn whatever he is going to learn. And I think lost in the woods, I think we can use that to as a reference to say that sometimes people feel like they don't know what is happening in life, like they are at a crisis. So maybe this, like lost in the woods, could be used as a reference to that state. When I think that when you are in crisis, right? Like we feel, like I've seen so many people feel around me, and even I see my parents. Like if at all something wrong happens, that shakes people, like that will question everything that they have done so far. Like if they've put in their heart soul into one thing, like for example, let's say if someone wanted to be a doctor and they were very passionate about it, and they put in heart and soul into preparing for that exam, and then when they write the exam and they don't clear it, like everything comes down to a point, like does, like nothing actually matters at that point, like nothing
the
makes
whole
sense.
earth is shaken and the sky has
Yes.
fallen, the woods in fire, everything is drowned.
Yes,
What
yes.
not, huh?
Yeah, like it's
Well,
the most confused state. Yeah.
yeah, see, here comes the mighty Shiva. Yeah, um, uh, Shiva is the mightiest form, okay, that we all worship. Now, if I uh, when you think of the holy figure of Shiva, yeah, Shiva, Shiva, right? Who
Yes, he's
resides in the
also
most
another. He's a he represents destruction, right?
well, I just want to make a small correction there. I
Okay.
beg to differ on that. It's
Okay.
like this: he does not represent destruction. Okay, he's I would consider, out of so many different meanings people might have given to Lord Shiva, I have found a meaning which is more connected to our conversation. Hmm?
Okay.
Um, Imagine, let us walk ourselves through the figure, the iconic figure of Shiva. What you see in a typical photograph of a Shiva, how do you see he's represented?
Uh, we see a trishul. We see the trident that he carries, and he always sits in a meditation posture, meditative state, and his hair is tight. His hair
Yeah.
is tight, and mm, Uh, he he has a leopard skin mat, if I'm not wrong. I'm trying to recollect. I'm trying to
Mhm.
recollect things.
Yes, yes, yes.
And he's
it's a testimony to your curiosity, okay, to your observation skills.
Yes, I he also has a venom in his throat. Some people represent a bluish or a different hue color on the
Yeah.
photograph, and he's generally blue in shade, like his skin tone is blue. Mm, that is it, I guess. I,
Okay.
I I could keep
That's a
adding to
cool
details,
start.
but I think this is something concrete. Like, yeah.
Definitely, you have seen so many things, so many different, characteristics, features in his icon. But let me walk you through top to bottom.
Yes,
Okay.
please.
So, uh, you have. Let us describe the figure of Lord Shiva like this. He is represented dark. Okay,
Hmm.
dark. Sometimes we see him a black image or bluish black image.
Yes, on the
Uh,
darker
then
shade. Yes.
Yes, on a very dark side, and he has tight
Hmm.
locks on his hair, yeah,
Yes. Yes.
curled and completely locked, and on his tight locks on his on his head, you find uh, a crescent. He's
Yes.
wearing a moon, a crescent-shaped moon, brightly lit, and you find also Ganga,
Yes.
the holy
Yes.
river Ganga, on his head. Okay, and as we move down on his forehead, you see a third eye.
Yes.
He
How did
also
I miss
has
that?
two normal
Yes.
eyes. Okay,
Yes.
he also has two normal eyes and a third eye. Then, as you go down towards his neck, as you have definitely observed, there is a bluish mark on his throat. Okay, and he also wears a lot of snakes. A
Yes.
cobra, you know, uh, he has a necklace of cobra on his, and he also wears cobras on his elbows and wrists, and sometimes even, on his waist and other things. Then, as we still go on, as we observe his body, you find his body is covered in ashes. Yeah, ashes
Yes.
of the burnt dead bodies. Okay, then he's bare, his chest is bare,
Yes.
and he's wearing, as you said, animal skin. They say gaja charma. Okay, when say gaja charma, it means like the skin of an elephant, or just take any wild animal, and he's sitting on a leopard or tiger skin. Yeah, he's sitting in a yoga mudra, in a he's doing dhyana, and imagine he has four hands. Okay, in one hand, as you said, he has a trident, or we call the trishula. It's a very sharp object, sharp metallic object. Then in one hand, uh, he has uh, uh, abhaya mudra, just like this. Yeah,
Yes. Yes.
then he also has his one hand on a rest, on a wooden rest.
Yes.
So this is how it's depicted. Apart from this, uh, he's also shown sitting in, either in a snow-clad mountain like
Yes.
Kailas,
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
or he's also shown sitting in smashana, yeah, the burial ground.
Yes. Grave.
So what does all this represent? How do we interpret this symbol of Shiva? Do we really? I mean, if you observe this, sometimes you find you'll feel scared. Sometimes you feel very unauspicious. Yeah, he's sitting in the burial ground, he's wearing the ashes of the dead and all these things. Why do we have to represent Shiva in this way? If you give a thought on this, it's like this. uh, okay, now you're close to complete your engineering course, so let me ask you one question. uh, what kind of fears do you have? Do you fear about something?
Yes, I do. I have fear of heights. I have that phobia, and uh, a general fear is not being able to like make something out of myself and not being able to afford things. Yeah, like that's one of my fear. And yes, I think I have a fear of getting lost. Yes, I think I do have that.
Hmm. Okay, so let me summarize the fears that you have. Okay, you have two kinds of fears, and everyone has two kinds of fears. If you classify them at a very high level, the very abstract way of classifying fears is like this: you have everyone has a fear of losing something,
Yes,
or fear of unknown,
yes.
right? If someone is someone fears, someone has the vertigo, like he or she cannot stand on the top of a mountain or of a cliff and look down. So it's something bad happens to him or her because they have that phobia. Someone is afraid of the dark. Okay, someone is afraid of poisonous creatures. Someone is afraid of failure.
Oh
Someone
yes, I'm
has a
scared of scorpion though. Yes, I am
Yes,
scared of scorpions.
of
Yes.
course, everyone is. Okay, so uh, we're also feared of diseases. That's the reason why we wear masks these days. Yeah,
Yes.
we're also afraid of. We're even afraid of mosquitoes. I mean, aren't we?
Yes.
So we're afraid of bad people around us. We're afraid of being alone.
Yes.
The list is endless. The list is endless. We have lot of fears. And if
True.
you classify them, as I said before, you have either the fear of losing something or the fear of unknown. Yeah, something which you don't know.
Yes.
It's just in your minds. You cannot even, sometimes there are fears that you cannot express in words.
Yes,
Yeah,
we can't articulate them. Yes, true.
someone has the fear of losing a job. Someone has a fear of losing a near and dear one. Someone has a fear of losing his own life. So there are many fears that we uh, cultivate in our minds. Um, I'm just stressing upon that we cultivate fears in our minds because fear is something which is there in here, not
Yes.
anywhere else. Yeah, like how you feel love, how you feel, uh, feel, satisfaction, contentment, and all these things. Fear is also an emotion. Out of nine main kind of emotions that we humans express, fear is one of them. And
Yes.
as I said, fear stays more in your mind than anyone else. Yeah, and believe me, unless the same person, in different circumstances, fears about something or does not fear about something. Okay, for example, the same human being is afraid of python, but again, he may be in a different circumstance. He may actually be taming a cobra. He may be even, playing with a cobra.
If a
It's
cobra
possible.
tries to attack his child or something, then he might rescue,
Yeah,
just to rescue his kid, like he might face the cobra or something like that.
maybe the sight of python, a very large python, scares the shit out of him. But on the other hand, he was sleeping. He was completely unaware of what's going on around him, and there were two cobras just playing around him. Yeah, and he didn't even know because he was sleeping. So the fear is what we cultivate in our minds.
True, true.
What we cultivate in our minds, consciously or subconsciously, and then we think that it might cause some trouble to us. Okay, so having said this, if you closely observe the icon of Shiva, he's first of all living in very adverse conditions. Okay,
Mm.
he's you you know in a snow-clad mountain like Kailas or Himalayas, not a blade of grass grows. Yeah, so you cannot expect good food or good amount of drinking water either because it's all snow. You cannot drink water.
Yes.
You won't have proper amount of air to breathe. There is no much oxygen. You see, the people who the mountaineers who climb Kailas and other mountains, they wear oxygen cylinders. Yeah, why?
Yes.
Because the oxygen level is very low at such an elevation. So which means Shiva is first of all living in very adverse conditions. He's trying to show you that one kind of risk that is cultivating your fear is being in an adverse condition like that. People, you see, humanity lives in the desert. Humanity is living even in remotest islands on this earth. Humanity is also living in Antarctica. Humanity is living in Sahara Desert. Okay, it's not, conducive for life, but still humanity progresses there. Yeah.
Yes.
Today, if I think about living in such a condition, just imagine I call you and then say, okay, Sankarshan, for the next 1 month, you don't have internet, you don't have any kind of connectivity whatsoever, whether it is phone or internet or cable connection, nothing. Your smartphone is going to be dead for the next 1 month. Are you are you not going to run crazy around? Isn't it?
Yes, maybe. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just saying that, not just you,
Yeah, in general, I get it. Yeah, yeah,
in
yeah.
general, today
That
we're
would
so
drive people
dependent on the
crazy.
network. Yeah, we're so dependent on the network, and one snap in my neighborhood, one snap of the network cable causes me tremendous amount of trouble throughout the day. I fear that, every time there's a network problem, I'm losing precious man hours per day. That's the kind of fear. Yeah,
True.
we should
Yes. Yeah.
understand adversity is part of human life. This is one thing. On the other hand, Shiva is shown mostly alone. Yeah, he's shown he's shown to be sitting alone in a smashana, in a burial ground. Yes, he's sitting in the dark alone.
Wow.
What does it represent? There,
Uh,
it's like there are many aspects, due to which in life, even when one is surrounded by all his own people, all his own friends, he would still sometimes feel alone due to some kind of adversity, due to some kind of bad thing happening around him or inside him.
True.
Imagine
Can't agree more.
how many celebrities have committed suicide. They are having the whole world at their feet. They enjoy the better amenities in their life that we cannot even imagine in our lifetimes. But still, how how uh, how pity is that they feel alone. Yes or no? Do you agree with this?
I definitely agree with you.
So it happens with everyone. Sometimes you feel alone. Not that you are physically alone. You have the whole family, but still you feel alone because someone is not understanding your feelings. Someone is not able to understand your thoughts. Yeah. So
Yes.
Shiva sitting alone in such a place represents the fear of being alone. Yeah. It's a kind of adverse condition one has to face again. Okay. So third important thing about how his icon is represented. So he's shown wearing, animal skin. They say gaja charma, the elephant skin. He's sitting on the leopard skin. He's wearing cobras. Dangers for life.
Yeah.
Every human being, every creature on this earth has some kind of dangers around. Yeah. Um,
Life-threatening dangers.
Life
Like,
threatening
yes, if we are living in wildlife, predators.
predators. Yes. You're absolutely right. Now, just compare that with the competitive world that you're facing. Yeah, the tough competition that you're facing, and the kind of challenges one is posed with. So, for example, assume a corporate employee. Okay, what kind of challenges he may be facing throughout his lifetime? It's not the challenge of uh, learning new things or forgetting new things. No, that's not the way it is. The challenges are about the competition, how he's facing the competition, how he's facing the cutthroat politics happening around him.
And also,
You
it
know,
comes down to surviving also, right? Like when it comes to
yes,
competition, we human beings right now are the most intelligent species on the planet right now, and we have power. So we are dictating and we are being competition to other species, hence we are the predators here. And over the if we look back, when we were cavemen, then we had attack coming from any direction. So competition has always remained the same. Yes, sorry.
Competition has always been like that, okay? And you'll find predators everywhere, not just in the
Yes.
jungle. This
Yeah,
is
that's the
very
point I
important.
wanted to make. Yes,
Yeah.
please continue. I can't wait
The,
to.
no. I'm just trying to make a point here that yes, whether you are an employee or a businessman or a politician, okay, or a leader of masses, or anyone, or just a farmer or a peasant or a mechanic, no matter what you do, you still face a cutthroat competition. You still have to face predators. You have to find your survival instincts. You have to find the right tools and techniques in order to make yourself capable enough to face the severe challenges thrown and
And to
survive.
survive.
Yes, and to win the race. Yeah. So these are the things. These are the kind of things, the risks that are posing to us. That is depicted in Shiva's image. One is adverse living conditions, adverse people around you, the dangers at every step of one's life, and all these things. Yeah. Now, what does Shiva do then? What is he advising us through his image? Yeah. What is he saying? That yeah, everyone has fears. Yes, this is fine. Everyone accepts this. Now, how are we going to face this? That's exactly the point made by Shiva's image. Yeah.
And
If you
also the state that he's sitting in, considering all the adversities around, he
Yes.
has always his eyes closed and he's always calm and is always peaceful,
Yes, I'm
like
coming
with
to
his
that point.
posture. Yes.
Yes. I'm coming to that. That's the first and foremost point he's trying to show us by his figure. So you see, in scriptures, it's said that Shiva is Manoniyamaka. You know what's a Manoniyamaka?
No.
Manas is the sixth sense, the sense of intuition, the sense of you know uh, the sense which is supreme to every other sense organs that we have. Manas, or the mind, where we are very
Yeah.
thoughtful. We without having any language or script, we are able to think about something. We are able to decide our response to something. This is the mind. This is the whole world inside everyone's head. Yeah? So Shiva is considered as a Manoniyamaka. Niyamaka means the person who directs and controls the mind. Okay,
Mm.
it's not. Don't take it literally that there is a person called Shiva who is sitting in the Kailas and then trying to control our minds. Don't think that literally. Okay, just try to understand. Let's be rational about why our ancestors might have given us this kind of clues. Why what they try to communicate us through these holy pictures, as we say. Yeah. So having said that, Shiva is the Manoniyamaka. He clearly says that all the fears reside in your mind. Okay, the fear is in your mind. The fear of losing something or fear of unknown. Yeah. So these fears have to be conquered in order to make sure we progress. Progress on whatever path you may choose. You have to progress. Yeah. The whole world has to keep moving, and Shiva is giving us the best lessons in management by just sitting in that unique form that no one can show us. Yeah. so,
Yes.
so first of all, he's saying that it is the fear in the mind that has to be controlled to accomplish anything. Unless you get over your fears, nothing. डर के आगे जीत है. That's what they say, right? डर के आगे जीत है, which means you have to get out of your fear. You have to control your fears before you accomplish anything. So uh, this mind which has a lot of fears, okay, has been since long represented to be influenced by moon. Okay, the moon is said to be influencing
Oh.
psychology. Yeah? uh, whether any further research will continue in this or not, whether something is really uh, uh, proven or not, let's go with this point. Yeah, let's not disregard the existence of this. Yeah, we know that moon influences uh, human psychology. Hmm?
Okay.
Come on, just imagine a full moon can cause tremendous amount of tides on this earth. So why can't it influence the tiny mind size? Yeah,
Yes,
it can.
it,
It
it
can.
can. It
So
has a potential. Yes,
just because we don't know about it yet does not mean we disregard. Yeah, there
true.
could be something which we'll come to know in future. So let's go with this. And the moon has been represented through ages as the celestial object which influences human psychology, which means that if I'm controlling what is controlling my fear, then probably I can overcome my fears, right? it's it's not that you are controlling your moon. It says that accept gracefully that fears will be there. Everyone has fears. Wear it on your crown. The moon is representing the whole the power to control your psychology, control one's fears or emotions. So wear it gracefully. Accept that people have fears. Accept everyone has fears. Wear it gracefully. Don't be shy of it. Yeah. So
Wow.
this is one accept, or this is one aspect of his wearing the moon. Yeah. On the other hand, you also find Ganga residing on his head. I mean, you cannot imagine in daily life a person wearing a river on his head. Yeah. But why this unique? Why this unique feature in Shiva's icon? It's because, like, when a creature is in fear, it can disturb him a lot. Okay.
Hmm.
Psychologically, a fearful person a person who fears a lot will be disturbed psychologically. Yeah, he can take any kind of uh, irrational actions. He can decide anything bad. Yeah. So unless you keep your head cool, yeah, he's saying to keep the
Oh,
head cool, which means that the very first step, if we recollect what we discussed, it's like very first step is accept that you have fears. The second step is keep yourself cool. Yeah, understand it's everyone. If one has fears, he's not unique to anyone. He's just a common man. He's just a common creature on this world. Every creature has fear. That's what he's representing. He says just don't act irrationally when it comes to handling your fears. Just be normal. Just stay normal. Yeah.
try to
And
stay calm. Yes.
yes, this is very important to stay calm when you're in deep shit. Okay, so we all make mistakes. We all make mistakes, and then sometimes when we fear about something, we try to react in a in a way. We try to react in a way which is not normal, which is not called for, which
Yeah.
is
Yes.
completely out of context, and then we actually cause more troubles to ourselves than solving the problem.
It is when the fear is driving the action. So, yeah.
Yes, no action or no decision should be driven by emotions, they say. And emotion, one of the emotions is fear. Fear is the strongest emotion, I would say, always.
Absolutely. Yes.
And if your decisions or if your actions are governed or directed by fear, then definitely the decision is wrong. Okay,
Mm.
we may not realize that immediately, but in a long run we are going to repent on that. So Shiva says, by wearing Ganga on his head, he says, look, keep your heads cool, don't worry, fear is normal. Okay, सबको डरना है. Okay, the second important aspect of wearing Ganga is very beautiful. It says Ganga is the purest river on earth. Not that it's pure anymore, not from uh, the physical
Physical
perspective, it's pure
perspective.
or
Yes.
not. But Ganga has since millennia been revered to as the purest river. And in many Puranas they say Ganga is has descended down upon earth all the way from uh, the
Heaven.
Almighty, all the
Okay.
way through the heaven, not from the heaven, through the heaven. The original source of it was, you know, Lord Vishnu's, you know, uh, uh, the first toe, the toes of Lord Vishnu. She has descended from that place. Okay, which means if whether you believe it or not, okay, whether we scientifically accept that fact or not, okay, let's understand the thought behind that.
The
The thought,
connotation of what.
yes, Yes, in essence, we consider that Shiva is wearing Ganga, which is considered the holiest, beautiful, the coolest river on earth. Okay. Now, what does this represent? Someone may say, Thames is cool, not Ganga. Someone may say, River Mississippi is cool, not Ganga. Okay, it's fine. But the context in which I'm talking about this here is, it's like when you're wearing a pure thing on your head, it means that it is equal to saying that at times of adversities, at times when you're feeling alone or feeling fearful about anything or anyone, you should first of all know the very first step to conquer this fear is to have pure intentions. Okay. Unless you have pure intentions, unless you have pure thoughts, um, your actions will not be pure. Yeah.
Yes.
Whatever you do, whatever action one does, uh, if it has no good intentions behind it, then in a long run, shortly or later, it's going to come back to us. Yeah. So make sure whether you fear something or not, whether you are in a happy mood or a bad mood, or whether you're enjoying your life or not enjoying your life, let the intentions always be clear, crystal clear, like the Ganga water. Let the intentions be pure. Let the thoughts be holy. Okay. Let you have only positive thoughts in your mind. Okay. That's very important as a first step to conquer fear. That's
Wow.
why Ganga is in his head. Yeah. It's amazing how beautifully our ancestors have preserved the knowledge. Yeah, preserved the knowledge and tried to transfer from one generation to another this way. You don't have to speak a language, you just have to see and understand what it is. Yeah.
Yes.
So that's the reason why he has worn Ganga on his head. Someone say, why not in his water? Yeah. Why not in his kamandal? Yeah, it's fine. Forget it. Your emotions are not in your hands. It's here. The fear is here, right? That's the reason why Ganga has found the right spot on his head. Yeah. The third important point there I have to make, like, it's like this. Ganga is locked. Yeah, it's coming out of it. Okay, it's locked in his in the hair. Okay. Now, what does this represent? The locks, the tight locks of hair on his head. Okay, they're woven very tight. What does it mean? It's like it's a complex thing. The emotions in a man's mind, they're very complex. No one can understand except the own person. Okay, sometimes we don't even understand our own fear. We are not able to
Yeah.
express our own fears. The complication is represented by the by the locks of hair on his head. He says, no matter how complicated your emotions are, no matter how complicated the situation is, accept gracefully that you have a problem. Understand that you have to control your fear by having a cool mind, okay, and pure thoughts and intentions. This is the first part on his head, okay. This is just a fraction of what he is representing, because I told you he's the greatest management guru I would ever say. So just going down, okay, you see that he has two eyes, like he's shown to have two eyes like normal human beings, and he also has a third eye in his forehead, just above these two eyes. He's representing that, look, yeah, you have, everyone says when you're in, okay, let us go with an example. Suppose you're in a dark forest. What are your main senses that drive you through?
Uh,
Suppose in a dark jungle,
touch.
there's no light.
Touch. Sound.
You're walking you're
Yes.
walking in the jungle, and then what's very important to you there, being in a dark jungle?
I think sound. Like if something's approaching closer, like I would pay more attention to what's coming close. And if I cannot see, then I'll try to see. Like I'll try to focus and then see.
Yeah, nice. So 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 when we are directionless, when we don't know much about anything happening around us, when we don't know what exactly is causing trouble to us, Shiva says, seek with the third eye. What it means is, Look, you got normal senses, okay? You got two eyes, two ears, two nose, yeah, two nostrils, a very big tongue, a very powerful muscle in your body, and the sense of touch. The largest organ in your body is your skin, yeah.
Yes.
So the sense of touch. Now, apart from this, he says there is something called the intuition, okay?
Hmm.
Your mind, the greatest sense organ of all, the sixth sense, it can sense fear, it can sense what's going around, what is lurking behind you or someone, okay? So it's like this, when you're in dark world, you need to be aware of yourself, where you are. You need to know the directions. Are you heading east, north, south, whatever? You need to know, you need to keep your senses open, you need to keep your ears open, you need to keep your eyes open, though you're not able to see anything in the dark, but not literally dark, okay? It means that keep your senses open, keep your ears open, keep your eyes open. Understand that there is more than you can perceive with your normal senses. There's more that you can see or sense by your normal senses, okay? So they say that, where we know very less than what we actually think we know. Yes, it is.
Yeah,
You just cannot believe everything that you see. Yeah, you just cannot believe everything that you
absolutely.
hear.
Can't agree more. Yeah, true.
Yeah, you can taste something as sweet, but is that really sugar that you're sensing it as a sweet thing? No, it could be saccharine. So we may be deceiving ourselves by just believing on what normally we think we understand or we know.
True.
But he says with a special sensory organ. He says, you know, everyone, they say everyone has a third eye. It's not the physical eye on anyone's forehead. It's the it's the what do you call, a knowledge based, rational. It's, when you say an eye opener, yeah, when you say an eye opener, it's something that you didn't know
Yeah.
for so long, and you suddenly know, and you have a paradigm shift about what you understand. Yeah. So
Hmm.
that kind of knowledge is very essential. We need to keep our senses open. That's what he's saying there. Normally in some stories you'll see, oh, he opened his third eye and then he caused all the destruction. No, that's not true. And he says, when you say you open the third eye, it means that you know better than you knew before.
Hmm.
Okay, it's like having an extra player in the field. That's like it. Yeah. So that's what is represented by the third eye. And
And
when
also,
someone,
when like your senses might be deceiving sometimes, but maybe like whatever you have said so far, like the third eye could represent um, whatever it represents. It might direct us where the senses fail. So
possibly, yeah. So having said that, again, as we look down upon, uh, like he wore moon graciously, saying that everyone has fear, he also has a blue throat, which represents that, in the stories, if you go by the stories, it says that, he drunk a drop of poison came out of Samudra Mathana, the cosmic
churning of
churning of
ocean, yeah.
oceans. Now, if you remember, when we initiated this discussion, you said, all the thoughts in our minds, yeah, we have positive and negative thoughts. We have a lot of different emotions that either keep us happy or sad, yeah, feel confident or feel fearful about something. So these are the thoughts that keep, churning in our minds. And then at times at times uh, we have to accept our mistakes. Yeah, we have to accept our mistakes gracefully. And during any kind of discussions, okay, when people with opposing views discuss for some time, there's a lot of friction that is caused. That kind of discussion is represented by the in the Samudra Mathana, where on one side you have the suras or the deities, on the other side you have rakshasas or the asuras. Okay, it's not that one is good
Negative
and one is
force.
bad.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not that one is good or one is bad. It's just that, you have two opposing views of a subject matter, and then people try to drag the serpent and try to churn the ocean. it only represents that, look, during this, you have to have efforts, okay, to convince each other, to try to find a midway, a path where we can say we can jointly agree. But there are many times where you won't. During that heated debate, during that friction causing, arguments, the very first thing that came out of Samudra Mathana was poison, and Shiva drank it. What does this whole thing represent? It's like this: in the churning of emotions, we do something good or something bad. We think something good, something bad, good and evil, and all these things. And in this process, bad things will eventually happen. Okay, bad things will eventually happen. It's a life threatening thing sometimes. Sometimes you may be risking losing your job because of a bad decision that you took. It could be some kind of, because you're not able to secure your house, someone came in and then stole everything, every valuable that you had. In our pursuit, where we do some good or bad things, decide good or bad, something bad is definitely going to happen. Not always. He's saying that don't always expect an outcome which is favorable to you. Okay, he says accept gracefully that, things may or may not turn out in your favor.
Oof.
But in both the cases, whether it is good or bad, accept.
That hit me so hard. I'm not even kidding. That hit me so hard because in the conflict of emotions, poison comes out. Like that has been running in my head like constantly from when you started explaining this whole thing. In a conflict of emotion, or when in a conflict of two opposite forces, poison comes out. And Shiva drinking the poison is that he is gracefully accepting the output of whatever has happened there.
Yes.
Wow.
He's saying whether the output or the repercussions of any kind of decisions or thoughtful process that happens, people have to accept it.
Owning their decision. Yeah.
Owning the decisions. Yes. Shiva decided to drink the poison. He decided for himself, and you have to be responsible for your actions. Okay, and he didn't drink it whole. Yeah, it just stuck here. That's it. He's saying that, look, whether the outcome is positive or negative or neutral, don't worry about it. Accept the results gracefully and move ahead. Okay, make sure if it is risky, cut it short. He's not saying that, don't accept the mistakes. He's saying accept the mistakes and make sure it does not go further. That means you're not doing such kind of
Don't
mistakes
let
again.
it consume you. Like
Yes.
for a, it just makes sense. It just made sense to me that like when you accept the outcome regardless of whatever it is, if it is a poison, don't let that consume you. So when and consume you and kill you, like if a negative output has come, don't let that negative emotion consume you and kill you. That way there is no progress. Wow.
He's simply saying that the outcome of any of our actions or thought processes or decisions, okay, that we make can be positive or negative, and it's very humane. Sometimes, we fear the outcomes of it. He says never fear about the outcomes, because the outcome is because of what you did. Yeah, and you have to accept your mistakes. If it is a mistake, if it is a bad outcome, you have to accept your mistakes. If it is a good outcome, okay, don't be very,
Don't let
just
that
be.
also consume you.
Yes. So the outcome of that is very important. He's being unemotional there. Yeah, he's saying that, whether it is very happy or being very sad, don't let it consume you.
Yeah.
Don't uh, you overpower that, not that it overpowers you. Yeah. So he's saying, if due to any kind of decisions anything bad happens, mitigate the risk, mitigate the bad outcome to the extent possible that you still survive. Yeah. So we don't be don't fear making mistakes at whatever you do. Yeah, people have to make mistakes to learn, but again, don't make mistakes a habit. That's what he's showing by restricting the poison just to its throat and not letting it go down. Yeah.
To a
So
large extent, output of a certain action has always determined the process of humanity, like, to be honest. So let me try to make sense here. So in order to so people go to work because they are getting a handful of money. So that outcome is determining them, determining their action, determining their whole process. And putting it in a perspective of what you're saying, when it comes to fears or of being afraid of a certain outcome, or that might determine someone's action to a large extent. Like one of my friend who loved singing was scared to perform on stage because like that fear didn't let him do that for a really long time. So like it makes sense, like whatever you're saying, and that outcome has determined a lot of like a fear of something happening might have stopped people from doing that. Makes sense
Yes,
when you say we need to accept it gracefully and keep doing what we're doing.
yes. This is very important for us, uh, because every step we are managing something. Yeah, you don't have to be a project manager to manage something. Even a librarian is managing the library. Yeah, yeah.
We are all
A
managing
dhobi is
something.
managing the laundry. So they are all managing. So any step in our life, we are managing something or the other, or we are managing ourselves. So in this process, risks happen, fears happen. There could be right or wrong outputs. You know, it's for our betterment. Yeah, if we come to know something is right, yeah, we continue further. If we know something is wrong, we have to change the course of our action. We have to change what we have been doing. Yeah, that's how humanity has survived so far. So this
Yes.
is what is represented by the, uh, by the poison, the
Poison
blue
in
poison
the throat.
thing there. Yeah. But other than, again, as you said, one of your friend was, he had that phobia of standing on the stage and singing in front of an audience. Yeah. It's like this. In spite of whatever you do, in spite of whatever skills you possess, whatever talents you may show, sometimes it's very difficult that you face it. Yeah, it's like this. You have a very good English, you can speak in a very good language, you can have the best words that you can uh, uh, tell anyone, but when it comes to standing on the stage and speaking in front of, say, 100 people,
Maybe he's losing his shit. Here the fear is dictating his actions.
yes,
And
yes, yes. And as we thought before, Shiva is representing, he's saying that, look, fear is here, not anywhere else. So let's face it. Okay. And when he's wearing the cobra on his neck, already the neck has poison, he has stuck the poison there, he's not let the poison get into his body fully. And then he's also wearing a cobra. Now what does this mean? He says, just because an outcome of one decision was very bad does not mean you should stop making decisions. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, you made a mistake. Suppose you're learning to drive a car and you hit someone. Okay, not that you really hit someone, or you may even crashed your car onto a wall or a fence or a gate. Something bad happened. Does that stop you from trying to learn to drive that car? Should it stop you? Should it
so are
stop you
you
from
trying
doing
to
more
say
actions?
that like even after we did a certain mistake, um, shouldn't be ashamed of doing another stupid mistake? Like, is that what you're trying to say?
It's like, uh, whether your mistake was stupid or not, whether your actions were correct or not, uh, we should not stop. We should continue doing what is good. Okay. Suppose you took one bad decision and then that really caused you a lot of trouble. So when I say don't stop moving, it means that it does not mean that you should take the same decision again. Okay. It means that you have to correct your course. So what did Shiva do when he found a snake? That too, he's in a lonely place. He's sitting in all alone, and then he found a cobra, a very poisonous cobra. What did he do? He just tied it around his neck. He's just facing it without fear of failure. He's just facing it. He just made it his ornament. Means taking risks, wearing the cobra around someone's neck is actually like having a great appetite for risk. Yeah, you
And
have to take
embracing
risks.
it. And
Yes,
embracing it. Yeah.
embracing the fear, embracing the danger, okay, without the fear of consequences, and taking the right step forward. That is very important. Yeah, just embracing the fear does not solve it. You have to have the right step in order to make sure that you are not at risk. This is very important. A very this is all about the risk management in projects. Yeah, when we say the project is at risk, that means there is something, some factor which is influencing the project in a very bad way, and then someone needs to control that. Not that you can turn your back on that. You have to face it. As a project manager, one has to face it and make sure the effects of that risk is mitigated. Understand here, the risk will always be there. That's what Shiva is saying. But what you do with that risk depends on you, on your emotions. So
Yeah.
we have to embrace the risks. We know that risks will not be over. You will have risks everywhere, every time in your life, but we have to face it without the fear of consequences and in a right way. Okay. And if we make mistakes, correct the course of action, do something else.
But never stop
Never
yourself
stop attempting. Yeah.
from doing
Suppose,
something because you might fail at it. Or, yeah.
yes, yes. And he's again saying, look, not just once. I have cobra here. I have cobra on my wrist, on my, ankle, everywhere. I have cobras everywhere. So he's saying, just don't stop at the attempt number one. Okay. So that's what he's trying to communicate to us. Now, as you go down further, so there's too much of things, huh? so, 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 so as you go down further, so look at his arms, look at his four arms. Yeah. So as we said, uh, his one arm is showing the Abhaya Mudra. He's saying peace. Okay. Um, Shiva is also known as Shankara. Yeah?
Yes.
Shankara. Okay. I have a very limited knowledge of Sanskrit, but from what I have understood from several people, is like Shankara is a compound word. Okay.
Okay.
Compound word, like two words joined together to form a meaningful third word. Hmm? So it says Sham means peaceful. Sham means peaceful. Kara means doing. Okay, it means
Action.
Shankara means it says the one that gives peace, that creates peace.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, so what is he implying with that? He says no matter what your worries are, no matter what kind of disgraceful situation one is in, ensure, assure yourself that once you follow what I'm communicating to you through my figure, peace is guaranteed. Okay, so you'll definitely come out of, he's showing you everyone can come out of the fear, everyone can come out of the danger or riskful situations, provided he takes the right actions. He understands what to do, when to do, and how to do. Yeah, this is what he's trying to communicate with his Abhaya Mudra. This is Abhaya Mudra. Okay, so another hand, he has a Kamandala. Okay, Kamandala, you can just think of a small cup. Okay, a small cup full of water. What is it representing? He says, accept what you have. Don't worry too much about what you don't have. Just accept what you have and try to make the best use of it. He has only that Kamandala. He has nothing else there. He's sitting in a deep jungle or in Kailas where nothing grows, nothing can be. You cannot see a single soul even for thousands of kilometers out of that place. Yeah. So, but still he's accepting the situation. He's sitting there, accepting that this is what he has. The Kamandala is what he has. Okay.
Oh.
So he's saying, we fear losing a lot of things. Yeah. We fear losing money. We fear losing, fame, name and fame. We fear losing prestige. We fear losing our dear ones. But ultimately, you have nothing to fear. There's nothing that you're losing. This is what he's saying. Yeah. He says, this is, none of it is yours. Yeah. None of what you have is yours. Just, you're there to uh, use it for some time, as long as you're
Experience
here.
it.
Yes. And then move on. Don't try to uh, uh, stick
Don't dwell
around
on it. Yeah.
wealth. Yeah, don't try to uh, be very attached to what you don't have. Just be happy with what you have. Hmm? uh, the third hand, he has a rudraksha. He has a rudraksha mala. He also wears a rudraksha mala, and then he also has in his hand the rudraksha. So this is very important. Yeah, this is very important for us to know. What does that rudraksha represent? Rudraksha, uh, no matter what theories people propose, it's one simple thing that I find is very, very helpful. It says, take baby steps. You understand what I'm saying? It's like anything that you want to do, whether you want to overcome a fear or whether you want to accomplish something worthwhile in your life, everything starts with the first baby step and a consistent effort in that direction. The Rudraksha Mala, it's every bead, okay? He's just counting one by one at a time. One step, one right small step at a time. This is very important for us. You cannot build a Taj Mahal.
Yeah.
The Rome was not built in a day. Yeah, that's what they say. So
Put one beautiful bead, and then that would make a beautiful necklace.
yes, one simple right step ahead sets you on. Yeah, sets you in the right direction. That's what he is implying there.
Yeah.
And
Which is very important. Which is
very,
actually
very
very important.
important for us to do anything. Like, did you have your engineering certificate at the very first day? No, you had all these semesters, all these internals exams, all these term and examinations, all these assignments, projects, and whatnot. But
Yeah.
remember, everything was one small bead in that necklace. Yeah,
I think it's
one.
just baby steps and trusting the process. So you just put one bead with so much dedication, and you have so much faith in the process of putting the bead, and that and hope for a beautiful necklace to come. Like that's all you can do, right? Like, because so far that has been, I remember telling you a few days back that I uh, uh, I I always saw things in a bigger picture, and that bigger picture kept me motivated from doing the baby steps. And halfway through the process, you start looking at the destination and seeing where you are, and you start thinking if this is the direction that you're supposed to go, and then blah 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 blah, all the overthinking happens. So I think this is one of the advice that I took from you, which I keep saying to myself, that like, this step, one step at a time, with so much precision and dedication, and just trust the process.
It also shows you the focus. Yeah, you have to be focused on it. He's closing his two normal eyes, okay, and then counting on the beats. He's not just showing for the fun of it. He's just saying, look, you need to have focus, small steps at a time. Suppose there's a large project. Yeah, don't you make smaller goals to accomplish a larger goal? This is
No,
how it is.
even
Yeah,
if we don't make it, like, in order to achieve the bigger goal, you are knowingly or unknowingly knowingly or unknowingly, you are achieving small things, even though if you're not acknowledging it.
yeah. He says, be satisfied. Acknowledge the fact that you have accomplished one small step at a time that will lead you to accomplish the larger one. Okay. But in this process, again, he says, if you see the necklace, it's an endless thing, right? There's no start and there's no end. What does it
Yes.
indicate? It says that with full focus, keep continuously learning, keep your efforts on. Okay. Persistent efforts will lead you to success. This is what he's trying to show us. Yeah? After one full round of counting the beats, you may find I'm at the step one again. So what next? It says continue. There's no end to it. Yeah, this is what it says. there's no end to it. There's no end to learning. There's no
Oh,
end to accomplishments. One
yeah,
accomplishment comes after the other. There's no end
yeah.
to it.
I think this just like hit me again. The fact that like when you look at all the successful people around, or whatever, in whatever definition of success might be to that person, like whoever you think is successful, they are not doing something in order to arrive at a certain destination. They are doing it because they're loving the process. They're doing it because they have faith in the process. They do it because they're in love with it. So here, when you are rolling the beads, uh, even though it might seem like, okay, the whole point of someone rolling the bead is to not to reach a certain point of the necklace. So when I'm meditating, or when I'm rolling the beads, when Shiva is rolling the beads, the point is not to reach at the 13th bead. The goal is not to reach the 50th bead. Like that is not why one is doing that. It is because he the process. It is because like one loves the process. So this is
It, it,
my
it
interpretation
clearly
from what
says,
you said.
one small accomplishment leads to another, and then all these accomplishments, they form beads of a larger accomplishment. But again, that larger accomplishment is not going to stay there. You have to have persistent,
Oh,
continuous efforts in the right direction, small steps at a time. Don't unleash everything at a time. Okay, don't take everything on your head. Do it coolly in small baby steps. This is very, very important for us to know. This is what he's communicating. Yeah, so we sometimes, naively think like, he's chanting someone's name. Yeah, chanting someone's name, he has an accomplishment to do, whatever accomplishment he has in his mind. But again, it's like this. He has some accomplishment to do, and we have something to do in our life. Yeah, and then in both the cases, we have to take, the approach is same. Yeah, the approach is same. Small, goal oriented. You have to have, uh, when it says one bead at a time, it clearly means that you have to have one specific time based goal that you need to accomplish first, and then set the other. Yeah,
true,
so
true, true.
this is very important, uh, for us to understand. Yeah? So on the other hand, the fourth hand, he's resting it on his, there is a, uh,
Wooden
he's
rest.
resting his hand
What do you
on a
call it?
wooden,
Is there a term for it?
I don't
It's
know,
a
what it is called.
it it's a U shape with a stick. I'm just trying to
Yes,
whoever's watching
yeah.
and they are not trying to uh, get it. I'm trying to show it. It's a U and then there's a dash and then
It's
rest
a
hand.
wooden thing which is a C-shaped, C or U-shaped thing, which is resting on a pillar. Yeah, and that is used to rest
Sages use
one's
that
hands.
to rest their hand while meditating, right? Usually that's
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah.
What I understand from this is he's trying to say, maybe he's trying to say that, look, it's not just about the race; it's also about the rest. Take some rest.
Yeah.
I'm just, making it light. It's like this. It's not just about having rests. Okay, it's about, uh, putting your confidence into,
A
uh,
meaningful rest.
things that you trust. It means like, assume that you're in dhyana mudra, you're in deep meditation, and then that pillar falls. What will happen? You'll be completely disturbed, right?
Hmm.
What he may be trying to tell us is like this: look, believe in basic, basic knowledge that you have. What you have. You have that thing that you can rest upon. That means you have some amount of knowledge, some amount of intuition, and some amount of wisdom that you can always bank upon. Yeah, so you need that. You cannot forget your basics, you cannot forget your roots. Yeah, you have to make sure that uh, you know you try to believe, you try to make the best use of what you have. Hmm? This is one thing. And finally, in his fourth hand, he has the trishula or the trident, the metallic weapon. the sharpest object that we can imagine, uh, Trishula. He's having that. Now, what does this represent?
That's in the fourth hand, or if
It's in
the
the fourth hand. One of his four hands has
okay.
possesses
So
a
if that
Trishula.
is in the fourth hand, then the hand resting over the wooden thing that we just mentioned, that is the
Was on
third
the
hand,
third hand.
right?
Yes,
Yes, yeah,
yes, you're
yeah.
right. So you have the Trishul on his on one of his hands. So what does this represent? We may think about so many different things, but he's trying to communicate one simple thing. He says, in order to achieve something, whether you want to, uh, you know, anything that you want to do, anything that you want to overcome, you have to have the right tools and techniques to accomplish it. Okay. What's a project manager who doesn't know what is project management? What's a hunter who doesn't know how to use his rifle or a bow and arrow? What's what's a sage? What's a saint who doesn't know how to uh, how to do yoga? He doesn't know how to do yoga, and then how can he sit for several years to do some kind of meditation? What's a cook who doesn't know what is salt? Is it possible
So
that a
you're
cook does not
saying
know how to cut rice?
that is the tool uh, which will help you accomplish. Is that what
See,
you're trying to say?
he's in a dark jungle. He's sitting alone in a dark jungle with full of wild creatures that can endanger his life. Yeah, he's just showing that. Not that anyone can kill Shiva, not that. Okay, he's showing that, in order to face the situation that you are in order to accomplish whatever you want to, or in order to overcome whatever you're fearing of, you have to possess the right tools, skills, and techniques. You
I think the right tool resonates more with what I was thinking, because, like, see, when you say tool, that could have been anything. So on the fourth hand of Shiva, that could have been anything. Like why a weapon? Like, I think under that circumstances where he is residing, like maybe in a graveyard or in a forest where there might be predators or anything, that is the right tool to have, right? Like
he's
wherever
having the
he is.
right weapon for his needs there. Yeah.
Yeah.
So 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 imagine that, there's a farmer and he does not possess a plow. So can he really cultivate? No, he cannot. Yeah. A person, a fisherman, he needs a net. How can he fish without having a net? Is it possible? All he's saying that is, no matter which profession you are, no matter what you want to do right now, all you need to accomplish that is to have the right tools and techniques. That's it. And if you have to invest some time and money and effort into that, please do that. Only with the help of right tools and techniques you can accomplish what you want to. This is what he's implying there, I see. Huh? So this is and after all these things, there's one thing that we didn't discuss. That is the ash that he's wearing on his body. Yeah,
Oh yeah.
his bare body shows that, everyone is vulnerable to all these kind of situations, and he's also putting the ashes from the dead bodies on his body. Yeah, he, he's clearly saying that, what is the ash? What is the dead body's ash? What does it mean? It's like what is left over. That's it. That's what is left over. So what he's trying to imply is probably like this. Uh, who wants to wear ash on his body? No one wants to do that, right? We
Yeah.
call it unholy, or forget about whether it is holy or not. Is ash really worthwhile? We just dispose it off anywhere, right? Is it something worthy? No, it's not. So he's saying that, look, whatever is the outcome of your accomplishment, don't be very attached to that. Okay, understand, ultimately everything is going to be lost. It's not that you are going to possess it for your next life, if that is. Yeah, it's like this. You cannot
Oh.
it, it's like this. Just be emotionally unattached from whatever good or bad outcome that may happen from your actions or decisions. Just be completely unemotional about it. whether something very good happens, whether you accomplish a very great thing that no one has done ever in this civilization, don't be very cheerful about that. Yeah, you have to be happy about your accomplishment, but again,
But don't dwell
don't
on the
yeah,
happiness
exactly. Yeah, don't be completely centered on it.
attached.
Yeah, you have more things to do it. You have more things to do. Yeah, so that's what it means
And
by
also,
wearing this
ash
ash.
is a output of something that has been destroyed, right? Like ash, any product, any product in the world, when you burn it, you get like ash, right? Like almost most of the products. Like I don't know much of a science, but like most of the product, it comes down to that single thing, right? Ash. And
Yes,
yeah, maybe that might represent that things might come to an end, like you mentioned earlier, that things will definitely come to an end, like no matter what. So
things
just
will change,
embrace.
things will end.
Hmm.
Yeah, things will change, things will end. Yeah, so you don't have to glorify the same thing again and again, and then keep harping about what you have accomplished, because there are many other things to accomplish further.
Or maybe acknowledging the fact that everything is going to end, so just don't be very much attached to anything. So I think that's
Yes,
where the don't be emotional about something aspect comes in. Like that's what I think.
yes,
Because
yes,
something is going to end, when you consciously know it, I don't think you're going to be very much attached to it. So just acknowledging the fact that something uh, might come to an end will make us less attached to something. And also everything that turns into ash is material. So maybe that might also
yes.
signify like don't be very much attached to like all the materialistic things that you are dwelling upon right now, because at the end of the day it's going to be ash.
At the end of the day, they are needed to continue your life missions, finish and fulfill your responsibilities as a child, as a parent, as a brother, as a sister, whatever. But ultimately, don't get attached. Don't be overwhelmingly attached to that particular thing, or uh, whatever you possess there. Yeah, so just try to be unattached and then move on. Don't keep the baggages. We don't have the dead body there. We just have dispose the dead body, and then what we are left over with the ash, that's it. So
So I have a question. So here it is not just about the ash, right? It is that he is putting the ash all over his body. That means that he is in a way embracing the ashes, or in a way trying to uplift or something. Like what do you think about that aspect of it? Like because it's just this thought just occurred to me. uh, he's not just showing the ashes, right? He is putting it all over his body. What do you think that might signify?
he's just putting it all over his body. He's just saying that, this is what will be left over after
Oh,
all we did. This is what will be left over. Yeah,
maybe to
so
uplift that fact. Yeah.
yes.
Hmm.
See, in all these things, we have to emphasize on one thing, that is, first of all, don't take things as they are. Yeah, just understand what is behind it. Try to understand, try to clear off your doubts. Understand that asking questions will actually help us. Hmm?
Hmm.
We may not do everything that we discussed. We may not be, after all, we are humans. Yeah, so uh, but the very first step in all these things is to make sure we understand it, make sure we try to learn a lot of things. But I'm telling you, this may not be completely true. What we have been discussing so far may not be completely true. There may be many things. It could be even just 0.00001% of what uh, he may be trying to communicate. But yes, we become happy when we know a little bit of thing. Yeah,
See,
this is
actually, I think the point is, uh, I, 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 I spoke about this on my previous trips, and I think that Hinduism has always been about metaphors, right? And I think people have started to take those metaphors very literally. That's what I think. So I think that all our gods, whatever we worship, they are a manifestation of a certain, they are manifestation of universe, and they represent us. They possess a certain form of energy. So far we spoke about Shiva, right? I think that is, I think people, when they're listening to it, they get a sense of energy that Shiva might possess. Like all the things that we have spoken that Shiva might represent, I think that people will get a sense of the energy that he represents. Same goes with Vishnu, same goes with Brahma, or any god for that matter. I am very sure that God is not a human like creature with like a hand, with a nose, all of that. I think that is not the point. The point is that there is a certain energy, there is a certain philosophical and spiritual thing that certain god is signifying. And and when we pray to that god, I think that we are manifesting within to seek that certain form of energy within. I think that is what we do when we go to temple. That is what we do. That should what that should be what I, I don't know why I'm fumbling, but I think that is what we should aim to do.
See, it's like in the learning process, you have to understand a lot of things. And when it comes to uh, understanding a lot of things, you always don't need a language. You always don't need a book to understand. This is the truth that we have, our ancestors have given to us. They said, whether it's a farmer or a peasant or an accomplished doctor or a politician, a student or a father or an old man, whoever he is, the signs definitely help. Yeah, suppose you go to a railway station and you want to go to a toilet. What do you look for? Do you look for the word toilet, or do you look for those symbols which represents the male and female words for that? What do? You just look at the signal, right? You're
Yes.
driving on a highway. What do you do to take left or right? Does someone say left or right? No, you just have to see the signals, the symbols there. That's very important. Symbols are very powerful means of communication that
Yeah.
have existed since ages. And
Wow.
our ancestors were very wisdomatic. They had a lot of knowledge. And then, you, as you understand, even uh, for several thousands of years of human civilization, we didn't have printed media, right? How would they communicate this knowledge to everyone?
Through
Is it
symbols.
is these symbols or the figures not the right ways to communicate? Yes, they are. So much that we have discussed so far, anyone can write a book on this. But again, why a book? Just have a figure. And every time you claim to worship Shiva, just understand these thoughts, and probably that would be the best way to worship him.
I think this
Shiva,
makes sense. I think
Shiva
this
is
makes sense. Yeah.
yeah, Shiva is a destroyer of not everything. He's a destroyer of evil. The fear that is residing in our minds is the evil that we are foreseeing. And if we don't overcome this fear, then we cannot accomplish whatever we want. And for that, we just have to follow what Shiva is trying to communicate to us through his figure. Yeah,
Yeah.
that would be
Fear.
the right worship.
Yeah. True. True.
Just just spraying some scents, or just making an arti, just lighting a diya in front of him, or incense sticks in front of him, does not really mean anything unless we understand what he's trying to tell us. We
Yeah.
say, I'm the follower of Shiva, but the real follower of Shiva will probably uh, try to interpret more about his figure, and absorb that into actions.
Yeah. And also it becomes more of a doing, right? Like when you're performing puja, they say do this and that. Like you light incense sticks, and then you make circles or whatever the priest asks us to do, we do it. I'm sure there is spiritual significance on why we are supposed to do that. But I don't think that it adds value when you are just doing it and you're not investing your energy in it, or if you're not feeling it on the inside. That is more important, right? Like physically, even I can go to temple and I can pray, but I doubt how much would that influence my energy.
That's
So
correct. That's correct. I mean, just doing something for the heck of doing it, it does not really help us in any way.
yeah.
And being as a generation of human beings where we have a lot of information technology things around us, we have to be smart. We have to be smarter than our smartphones. Yeah. So we have to think about it. We have to understand, yes, we have lost a lot of knowledge just keeping doing whatever we have been asked to do and not questioning those rituals or processes or formalities. We need to understand why we are doing it. Probably there is a lot of significance of every ritual that we are following, but yes, time has come where we have to understand
Yes.
why and why not. Yeah.
And
So
also, I've started to think that if you don't know why you're doing, then is your action doesn't make sense. Like for example, if I am doing puja, and in that puja it says I need to do a certain action, and I am doing that action without knowing why I'm doing that action, without knowing what that action signifies, I don't think that action is really fruitful.
exactly. Like for example, understand there's a mason who is trying to lay a brick wall. Okay, he's just a mason. He's completely illiterate. He just knows how to lay the bricks in the right order and then apply cement over it and water on it. That's it. He knows nothing. So, and there is a contractor who is actually guiding him, and there's an engineer or an architect who is trying to help the contractor. Now, what do you understand the difference between what the mason is doing and what the architect is doing? The architect knows what is this wall for. Okay, the mason does not care about it. The mason just lays the wall as is advised. He just keeps doing it. Whether he is building a temple or he is building a toilet, no one cares. As a mason, he is not bothered about it. But as an intellectual being, the person as an architect or an engineer who has to guide a lot of people, if he does not know what that wall is being built for, what's the use of it? Yes.
Yeah.
So we should not think in that way. I mean, yes, we have to consider ourselves as common beings, but again, we have to understand that we need to know a lot of things. Okay, not just accepting what has been taught to us.
Yeah.
We need to question everything and then find out the
The
significance
answers,
behind it.
yeah.
Yes, someone may explain us, someone may not explain us. Maybe something we learn from someone, maybe some things we intuitively understand. Hmm? So it's
I
important to
believe
know.
that too. I believe that too. And also, so far, whatever we have talked about Shiva and what Shiva might signify, this might be just our perspectives, and this might be from your intuition or from your research, from your reading all the spiritual books. But I think that this is the whole point. Like it, like when you look at things like this, it maybe enhances your journey of life. Like I think that is the whole point.
It's
It,
just
it
like this. Wear the ash. That's it. Wear the ash and move on. Find out another way of getting another ash.
yeah. And also important thing is we all should talk about things which are beyond humanity. Like when you I don't know if you have seen my podcast before, like all my previous trips. I don't know if you have seen, but all in between I do individual trips where I just talk. Like I alone talk and I just think out loud on what is just going on in my head, and I just talk about absurd topics which interests me. Like for example, what is the point of existence, or maybe like my or like weird childhood or something like that. Because I think that it is important to see things beyond ourselves. Like when I think about what is the point of existence, my mind start thinking in that direction. Like it goes all over the place. It goes all over the place except me, and like this home. Like I start thinking about things beyond, and I think which is a power which we have as humans, and we need to make use of it.
No, well, there's nothing out of humanity in this. Like
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
what we think about is just limited to human advancement, right?
yeah.
So whether it is as a national leader or a peasant, no matter what he is doing, he's just either thinking of himself or his community or his place or his society or in the larger context, the
Yeah.
world, and nothing beyond this. Yeah. So uh, the one thing that I want to tell here is like, yes, we have to try to seek a lot of things beyond what we know now. But again, uh, our lifetimes, our knowledge is quite limited. Yeah. So the amount of the number of years we can put into seeking all this knowledge is very limited. Yeah, but tell me, how many hours per day are you really able to put on something that you want to do? Yeah. So you want to understand the essence of Bhagavad Gita, for example. How many hours or how many minutes are you able to really apply per day?
Yeah.
Very few, I would say. I can guarantee that it's a very limited time frame that we're talking about, and in this time frame, as Shiva said, don't you have a very high ambitions, yes, definitely, but follow baby steps, start one step at a time.
Yes.
There's
And
no point in overwhelming ourselves with a lot of huge and astronomical thoughts. Yeah. So yeah, and all these things, every small step will actually help in building uh, the right knowledge, generation by generation. This is not the end to what we're doing. Yeah, this we still have a lot of things to accomplish in our lifetime as well as in the whole uh, in the whole era that humanity exists. It's
yes.
we have to we should know that limitation, and then we should act accordingly. We should
Yes,
know
I
what
think
we have. We just have the kamandala, right? That's it.
we all should take the learnings and try to
Yes.
act better, try to respond better to life's circumstances, and try and not to dwell on any emotion, not to dwell on any outcome, regardless of if it is good or bad, because life just moves on, right? Like it just moves.
It has to keep moving on with no baggage attached. Yeah. Because
Yeah.
today we may say, we accomplished a lot of things, we understood a lot of things, we came to something very important, but again tomorrow that may not be very relevant. Tomorrow you may learn something new, and that pursuit continues. It has to.
Yes, yes. And today has been such a learning to me. And I know that this is just a tiny peek into your
Yes.
brain. And I would love to talk to you more about this. I know you have a different take, you have a different perspective on what the Supreme Lord Vishnu might represent, and you have a different take on what Ganesha might represent and why we worship Ganesha. I am sure you have a lot. I would love to talk to you more
we
about
we we
these.
should we should keep talking like this a lot, and then
Yes,
probably during this course of time we may learn something better than what we
I am.
already
I
know.
am sure. I am sure. I don't know if whoever's watching this is learning anything, but I do know that they get to peek on a different perspectives on traditional things, and I would love to have you back and talk about more crazy things and more different spiritual perspectives. And I am sure that I will have you back, and I hope you come too.
Yes, I would love to. I'd love to.
Th- Thank you so much for doing this. This has been really refreshing, and I am really pumped. Like I don't know how far we've been talking. Maybe 1 hour, 1.5 hour. I don't know the time, but I am super refreshed right now, and thank you for your time.
It's good to talk. My pleasure always.